What up, y'all? How you doing? This is your boy Gerald. It is the 7th of December, 2013. Did you hear me? The 7th of December, 2013. Do you realize we got 25 days and you are starting a new chapter of your life? Yeah, a new chapter. What are you doing? You're doing it again. I ain't playing. Look. Crazy, ain't it? Right. How y'all doing this morning? This your boy Gerald. Look, I don't know about y'all, but I am excited what next year is going to bring. I'm truly excited. Where are you going? This ain't about you. It's not about you today. You get attention all the time. He loves me and I love him. He got my back. He feels my energy. That's what he's supposed to do. He's protecting me. But he's just nothing but a big baby and I love him for it. Look, I'm putting this video out for a couple reasons. Number one, you know me, I'm always spiritually grounded, always trying to evolve who I am so that I can step into my purpose. And, it just brings a zeal and a zest about my life. And you should also have that same mindset. So, what I'm getting at is this. It's time. If you have not done so, it's time for you to do the work. Or if anything, prepare you to do the work. Next year, you're going to have new situations and new... What are you doing? You're going to have a new set of challenges as well as new directions. But you got to get real with yourself. If you're in a place where there's unrest, uncertainty, negativity, non-direction has plagued your life, you got to take ownership on what's important for you. Look at the things that have been more or less had you enslaved and shackled. It's time to cut them. You got to cut them because your purpose wants to be manifested. You got to do it. But the first thing that you got to be able to do is be real with yourself. That's the only way you're going to be able to look at your fears and your challenges and see and put them in perspective. You're not. Trust when I say this. If it was that easy, your self-worth would be already personified. But because that's where there is a hiccup on how you embrace your reality compared to how you think. And it's caused such a glitch that your reality... Aren't you tired of doing this? Aren't you tired of doing this? When you turn around and change it up, you're going to go up. But it starts with you loving yourself. So, what's going on with that? What's going on with that? If your environment is not building you up, but systematically tearing you down, you got to reassess. Reassess. See your worth. I want to put a big shout out. Is it Divine One? I can't remember. But last night I was on YouTube and I wanted to get everyone's interpretation of self-worth, how they felt about it. And one thing that I've come to see out of the videos that I took time to watch, that it is the general consensus, the general concession that was in there was love. When you decide to love yourself, you're going to have the clarity, you're going to have the understanding, and you're going to be able to see what is needed because it will reveal itself so boldly. It's gonna really get you excited. And you should, because it's your life. It's your life. But if you're not living it, you live in someone else's, and that's not cool. That's not cool. It's not cool. So, come on now. It's time for you to roll the sleeves up. Let's roll them up and do the work. Come on now. Ain't nobody going to do it for you. All they're going to do is give you lip service. All they're going to do is distract you. When in actuality, they don't want to do none of the above. They just want to hold you back. Come on now. It's time to connect that mind with that body. And when you connect that body, make sure it's connected to your heart, because your heart is the source of everything. That's why it's important that you discern. If you're not discerning, you're missing the boat. You're missing the boat, because you're basically saying, I've got it all under control. Well, how's that working? When you gonna get out of your head? When are you gonna start looking at people for what they are? Now, come on now. We live in a world of givers and takers. That's why it's very imperative that you forgive. Yeah, even that one. You know, the one that you know that's been plaguing you for a long time. The one that every time you even remotely go near it, it hurts. You gotta forgive that. You gotta forgive it. You gotta forgive that person. Look, let me break down. Because you forgive someone does not mean that you have to be connected to them. Because let's put it in perspective. Because I'm a babe in the word, you know what I'm saying? But hey, trust and believe, it's there. But when you make the steps to start to authenticate who you are, because some of us, and I've been there, some of you don't even know who you are. You're living on someone else's template, someone else's expectation, and you left holding the bag. When you gonna stop doing that? Huh? You're not living your life. Come on now. Come on. Some of you are brilliant, but you ain't loving yourself. Why? Some of you have this ideology and this perception that if you take the time to invest in yourself, that it's selfish. No, it's not. It's selfless. Come on now. Some of you you dream about your wedding day. The one. A life that you truly desire, but your reality is opposite. Why? Because you ain't loving yourself. If you're not loving yourself, you're not respecting yourself. You can't have it both ways. You can't. That's why I always say to you, you gotta put God first. Granted, yes, He is one of many names, but you've got to get real with yourself. You gotta own what you did. We're not perfect. Own it. Claim it. Learn from it. And move from it. If your environment is chronic or toxic, first, have a plan. Second, act on it. Third, reflect from it. And fourth, grow. But you can't do none of that unless you have your higher power guiding you. I'm a firm believer God will move you and put you in position to receive the information that you need. Some of you have some dreams that are just like, what? Why did I see that? Why did I see them? Why? Because God is talking to you. He's trying to let you know, I exist. I am a jealous and loving God. And I know what you need. But I will not give you what you want. So why are you depriving yourself the joy that you deserve? Don't you realize the joy that you receive from others are templated from what is found within yourself? Do you realize that too? Like, for example, if you got people that you deal with on a regular basis and they ain't 100, it's because you ain't 100 with yourself. I had to learn that one too. And don't get me wrong, I'm not throwing stones. I'm saying this out of love, because people are going to tell you what you need to hear. But it's your responsibility to discern it. Because if you don't, what's going to happen? You're going to find the fate that most people find that don't want to do the work. They end up embracing a life that is not theirs. They're not happy. And what happens? They become a slave to medicine. Because their health goes after the mind has already been emotionally used and abused. You gotta understand, that's where the synchronistic connection is. Where the mind goes, the body flows. So if your mind ain't healthy, your body's going to soon reciprocate what it feels. That's why a lot of our problems that we see in the media that is being projected, it's all about money anyway, but the things that you see that have been brought into perspective now is because it's neurological. So if your mind is not healthy, how can you expect your body to be? Hello? It goes 1 to 1. That's why I can tell y'all right now, nor that it matters, I've made a decision. You see this thing right here? See it? This was my slave for over 15 years. So, I will be ushering in a different health perspective. This was my demon. This was my crutch. When I was going through a lot of emotional abuse, stress, a lot of it self-induced, I turned to this. I did. Because I didn't want to be a person that did this. Hold on. I didn't want this to be my friend. Now, I like this. I do. Don't get me wrong. But this ain't my master. But I am a grown man, and I like to drink every now and then in the confounds of where I dwell. But see, let's look at it like this. Tyson, what are you doing? What are you doing? What are you doing? Come on, get up here. Get up here. Sit down. You got to make a conscious decision on where you want to know. You got to make a conscious decision on where you want to take your life. And I'm not saying take your life literally, but where you want to guide your life. You've got to do the work. You got to. You got to make that choice. You can't, like they say, you can't serve two masters. You got to make a decision. You got to, and the first thing is to be happy. To be happy. You have to make that decision. You're not going to find that happiness with another person until you make yourself happy first, which means you got to do the work, do the self-maintenance. That's why serial dating does not work. You will not find happiness with Mr. Now or stolen moments. Stolen moments only set you up for a lifetime of pain, because that means you don't have the courage to fix yourself. So you'll rely on someone else that's broken to more or less help you with the denial. Look, I done been there. And I'm going to tell you what. When I started to see the perspective of how I was being self-destructive, I got a grip. Because I did not want to be one of those stereotypes that my queens choose to use as an example. I am one of the good ones. I am one of the good ones. Yes, ladies, I am. And I also know when the time is right and I've done the work, my queen will come. She will come because we'll be spiritually yoked. She'll have a foundation spiritually. I need that. Otherwise, what do we have to talk about? And if we don't have that to talk about, then how can we build anything? That's why it's very important to understand that you must have a relationship with your higher power. That is going to be the most greatest intimacy you will ever find. But trust and believe, by having that, you will be challenged. Your mind will be attacked. You will find setbacks. Why? Because the devil does not want you to be happy. He does not want you to exude love. He despises it. That's why he uses people with the purpose of kill, will, and destroy. That's it. There's no gray area in there. There's no 50 shades of gray. I mean, come on now. If something is bad, but yet it's twinged a little bit, does it make it less bad? No, it's still bad. It's not good for you. It's self-destructive. That's why I tell my queens, my queens, you need to protect your temples, because the devil's work's not done. The last thing you want to do is be shackled to something or someone that will never love you. And that happens all the time. So, like Beyonce said, best it ever had, something about dodging a bullet. Yeah, so God will will allow you to take your arrogance into a situation. He's going to sit in the cut like, okay. When you get tired of beating yourself up, when you get tired of using yourself, when you're tired of having to justify things that you don't want to, then you're going to submit to Him. And I had to go through all that. I got tired of lying to myself. I got tired of out in public. I got this big smile. I'm happy, but I'm broken inside. I'm broken because deep inside, I just wanted to be loved. I wanted to be loved. I wanted to feel appreciated. I wanted to feel valued. But here's the problem with that. I wasn't doing none of it. I wanted someone else to do the work. And then I turned around and had the epiphany of looking, well, you know what? Energy out is energy in. So if you're not doing the work or you're putting the template down, how can you expect someone to do it back? How can you? No, you're setting yourself up to fail. You're setting yourself up for the wrong person to come in to change your life. But even when that does happen, we go through peaks and valleys, even though that happens, God will carry you through it. So if you're crying at night, let me tell you something, my kings, my queens, it too shall pass. That's why they say, no weapon formed against me shall prosper. Why? Because you're God's child. You're God's child. But you've got to be real with yourself. Stop lying to yourself. Stop lying to everybody else. Because guess what? Your actions and your reality will paint another picture. And guess what? Ain't nothing worse than running from the truth. You deserve to have the happiness that God has intended for your life. But you got to first start being honest with yourself. You got to. You can't have it any other way. That's like, for example, people think, well, I heard someone very significant tell me once, well, you know what, to get over someone, you got to get under them. Let me tell you something. How can you get over someone if you're not taking the time to heal? Do you think because someone else's manifestation is going to change what you feel inside and validate here? Hell no. It won't. It'll confuse you even more. You'll be more drunk. That's why women, I tell you, like I said in love, close your legs. Close your legs. My kings, you need to start doing that too. There's a benefit in that. Because when you decide to do that, guess what? You're recharging yourself. You're allowing your body to heal. You will see your body transform. If you don't believe me, look at the very first video that I've done. And look at the man I am now. I mean, heavy. Look at my hair. Look how long my hair's grown. This has been all done in less than a year. Come on now. That's God. Because I put Him first. But I also know that I am not, by no means, complete. There's work and tasks that I need to do. But once I decide, no, it's not when I decide, this is when I complete them. And I shall. Because, Because I smile and I talk to you guys, if anything that you get out of my videos, it's because I say it out loud, because I don't want you to go through what I've gone through. You know, that's one thing that I took for granted with my parents. And I know you've gone through this too. Your parents will tell you things and you think, oh man, they're just being mean. They just want to be cruel. But in actuality, they're protecting you. Because guess what? They've probably gone through something even more worse. And they don't want their child. Because you're an extension of them. They don't want you to go through that period of you can't wipe away the tears quick enough. And you're trying to keep it together, but you don't understand how you're going to make it through the day. They don't want you to feel that. They don't want you to feel like you got to rub two nickels together just because you want something to eat, but you got to balance that because of the fact that you ain't got enough money to get to work. They don't want you to go through those things. That's why they say, well, listen, your education is going to define where you're going. Turn that TV off. Even the parents knew back then. They called it the boob tube because they knew the power of media. They knew it because that ain't real. But yet they called it reality. Come on now. Whose reality? It ain't yours. If that was the case, we would have no problem, right? We would have an endless flow of abundance, right? But if you turn that volume down and look at what's being projected, all you see is betrayal, deception, and shallow people that don't even know themselves. Come on now, know your worth. Until you decide to invest in your worth, you will not reap what is destined with your name on it. You won't. My queens, you will not get the ring that you want until you see your worth. Shallow intentions, they render shallow results. Why? Because the person that you want to attract will never love you. They're going to use you up and move you on. That's real talk. For my kings, if you don't define your name, you'll never be called. You'll never be a man. You won't. You won't. I'm sorry. If your environment is not building you up while you're in the environment, what is it? What is it that keeps you enslaved in that? Because your environment is like-minded. So therefore, if they're in denial and they're not trying to do anything, 9 times out of 10, you're doing the same thing. But here's the irony of it. You're intelligent. You have God-given common sense. But what I do know is you're afraid. You're ashamed. And you just want to be understood. You want to feel loved and appreciated. Let me tell you something. All of this can change when you put them first. Put them first. Put them first. See your worth. The hardships that you're going through are really blessings. Don't you realize God is going to chastise you through situations? Why? It's just like, and I'm not going to butcher the word because I'm not there yet, but I understand it. Just like that passage that was talking about purifying gold. The impurities have to come out through what? Through change. If it was meant for it to just fall off, wouldn't it just fall off? No, you got to go through a process. That's why I've said this in my videos. The person who you are is not who you are now. But don't do yourself a disservice not to embrace the lessons that you had to go through. If you don't, it was all for nothing. It was all for nothing. That means every tear that you shed, every physical pain you felt, it was for nothing. Every lie that was told to you was for nothing. Learn from that. But let me tell you something. If you think for 1 second that those connections that you had are in the past, those connections that may have been behind closed doors or in the shadows that no one knew about, let me tell you something. God reveals everything at the right time. Until you decide to own it, it's going to keep manifesting in your life. It's like that piece of luggage that you bought 3 years ago that's all beat up, but it's still serviceable, but you don't want to carry it around because it got a piece of tape or something on it. You know what I'm saying? It still has a practicality to it, but you don't want to claim it. Well, basically what I described was emotional baggage. You don't want to claim it, you got to look at it. And until you look at it, you're going to still have it with your name on it. But if you don't learn from it, you went through everything you went through for nothing. So you can't define your self-worth, especially if you're taking a position of arrogance or being narcissistic or with no remorse. You might as well be cutting yourself off at the knees because you're not going to grow. Here's something else, my queens, you might not like, but it's the truth. You as a queen will only get so far without a good man. Did you hear what I said? You as a queen will only get so far in your life without a good man. That is why the Bible says when a man seeketh a woman, it is deemed good. He did not say when a woman seeketh a man. You're going against the protocol. If it wasn't meant that way, why was it written? Here's the ironic part. Some of you have already probably met your husband, didn't even know it. Because how could you? You had no clarity. You were part of your environment. And like-minded attracts like-minded. But I'm a firm believer of this. We all have free will. And because we have free will, you can change. And if you value and respect who you are, if you hold on to your dreams, if you truly do, you'll do the work. Don't ever let anyone chase your dreams away. Don't you ever do that. Because, you know, that's where the terminology sellout came from. You allow materialism, you put a price on your heart through materialism. But guess what? Everything that's obtained materially is born with an expiration. Do you hear me? That's why when you go to the dealership and you buy that car from the showroom floor, it's all nice. But as soon as you turn the key and drive it onto the street, it has lost value. Why? Because it is material. It's not meant to last. It's only there to serve you, to get you to where you need to be. But your higher power, He's been walking with you since you took your first breath. But until you see that, He gets to a point where He says, okay, you don't need me? Alright. I love you, my child, but listen. I am the way. All things come through me. Until you recognize that, you literally walking in the wilderness, in the darkness, and you're going to get bit up, you're going to get stung, you're going to get cut up, and you're going to get scared. Because your reality is not clear. I say this to you. If you're going through a situation that has been very, very traumatic, humble yourself down and seek counseling. At a minimum, a life coach. But it's not about me. It's about you. Because your life is precious. You're only here for a short amount of time. There is a job that you must come into fruition. You must do the work. No one is going to do that. Why do you think generation curse and demonic influence is so rampant now? Because people have allowed the greatest lie to go unchallenged. And the greatest lie ever was that man did not believe the devil existed. He does. He does. And as long as you do not acknowledge that, he is going to wreck your life. He is going to take your temptations and your fears and tie it up in a nice little bow. And he's going to stray you from where you need to be. He's going to make sure that you're by yourself. And once he knows he's accomplished that, you just entered hell. You think that the things that you've experienced have been traumatic? You ain't seen nothing yet. It's one thing I've come to learn. I'm trying to be very, very cautious on my time. See, if anything, if you've not realized, when you tap into your spiritual self, you start discerning, you'll start to understand the power of synchronicity. You'll start to respect the power of serendipity. You'll also understand the importance of connecting with your angels and spirit guides. It'll all start to make sense. But if you take an approach of someone that is speculative, I need to see this, what you're going to attract is the things that you don't want. Because see, that's a position of pride. That is a position of ego. That is why you can't change nobody. We don't have that dominion. We're not God. We're not Him. He can do that. He give life, He taketh life. He will move you indirectly to see something, to resonate in your spirit. But don't get mad. Don't get mad. Get responsible. Look at your environment. Stop taking advice of others that don't have your best interest. Especially you, my queens. Some of you are so opinionated on others, but you're really being a hypocrite because you don't even apply it to yourself. And you wonder why you haven't found your mate. Why? You're letting your pride guide your steps. You're basically letting the devil say, come on. That's what I want you to do. Sever all those ties. Go ahead, sever them. Yeah, I know they mean well for you. Especially that one that is spiritually aware. You don't need to be near them, because then they're going to lead you from me. And I got a big task for you. I might even use you to hurt that next person. Well, that's what you do. Don't do that to yourself. Your life is priceless. It is priceless. Can't you see that? Stop putting yourself in positions where your emotions have dominion over your steps. That's why some of you find most of your trouble, because when things don't make sense, you emotionally use that as an escape, and you put yourself in more risk instead of taking the time to assess. That's why our parents always told us, if you take 5 seconds to think about what you do before you do it, it can change your life. Why? It's because your parents saw your worth. You're an extension of them. But if they don't see their worth in themselves, how can they expect you to see it in yours? Because you're going to emulate what you see. Learned it. So I wanted to put this out here because I know that somebody needed to hear this. Somebody that may be behind the scenes. But let me tell you something. God loves you so much. You love me too, huh? He loves you so much, you ain't got to hide. You ain't got to hide from yourself. Don't worry about what the messenger looks like. Listen to the words that are coming out of my mouth. See, I had to learn that because I see my subscribers' worth. There's some beautiful people that, first of all, thank you for allowing me just a second in your life. Do you realize how precious that is for you to just allow me into your life? I appreciate it, but I also see your worth. Each one teach one. And by me being able to do that, I can understand mine. And that's why I say I'm one of the good ones. And I say that out of love, not out of being arrogant. No, 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 no. And what God has in store for me next year, you guys are going to be able to watch it. Because you see how I look now? I've decided to rededicate. One of my passions was being in the gym. Whenever I had, because I mean, I'll be honest with you. I'm going to share something with y'all. I came from a very, very well upper middle class family structure. However, I didn't live with my dad. So when I had an opportunity to live with my father, I got to see the other aspect of what's real. So that brought a lot of traumas and a lot of pains from both sides. And I was a lost little boy for a long time. Long time. In turn, there was a lot of things that I experienced that caused me to challenge not only how I thought, but it also made me feel like the child that didn't and could not fit in. It wasn't that I didn't want to, but even back then as a child, I knew that God had something special for me to do. He has blessed me with certain gifts and attributes, and still not tapped out, because it's not time yet. But I knew that there was something. I couldn't put my finger on the pulse, but there was something for me to do. I'm 44 years old. 44. I know. I know. People tell me that all the time. But I know that the man that I'm going to become will make a difference on this planet. I understand my purpose. I didn't allow my traumas to dictate my direction. Because one thing I learned through this journey that we call life, I know that's Prince, I'm a Prince fan too, is the fact that I don't know what the word quit means. I don't. Sure, you're going to get knocked on your butt, but you ain't got to stay there. You ain't got to stay there. It's your life. You got to define it. And the actions that you choose is going to be your legacy. No one can do it. You can't buy it. You can't move to it. You can't hide it. You define it. But learn. Learn your worth. You have to do that, my queens. When you start investing in yourself purely, it brings you one step closer to the one. Because guess what? He can't do the work for you. But them other guys, they do their damnedest to tear you down. Because they don't want you to see who you really are. So like a thief in the night, they will come. They will keep coming. To keep you unstable. To break your spirit. To deceive you. And of worse, to taint your body. See your worth. see your worth. Because guess what? You weren't the one. You weren't supposed to be that little girl with them big eyes and optimism. That ain't your walk. That little girl that's in you right now that fights with you every day saying, you know what? I'm tired of you abusing me. I'm tired of you allowing these people that don't have my best interest to taint my spirit. I'm getting to a point that I am numb. And some of you have gotten there. That is why some of you have emotional walls. That is why some of you do not trust the opposite sex. That is why some of you hate men. Let me tell you something. When you decide to make the investment, truly make the investment, and it's not an easy process, but don't you think you're worth the wait? Don't you think you're worth it? Because I'm going to tell you what, a thief will tell you whatever he or she needs to tell you to continue their agenda. Their objective is to destroy you. Why? Because they've given up on themselves. So they'll never see your worth. But oh, when I say this, they'll feel it when it's not there. But do not take a place of judgment. You love. Love is the strongest and greatest tool you'll ever possess. And if it's divinely meant, guess what? All things broken can be made new. All things lost can be found. And all words that were misunderstood will have clarity. You'll finally get it. It's because your heart has expanded. That is why you're feeling that heartache now. That's why you feel like right now that you may be in a loveless relationship. Because you settle in. You live in someone else's life. You need to claim yours. No one can do that but you. I say this out of love. I say this because it's the truth. So start speaking your truth with love, with compassion, with kindness. And watch how that will have an impact on reality. Because I'm going to tell you something, like I said in the last video. When you speak your truth, two things happen. The person that you're speaking that truth to will change. Because they see your worth. Or take the common road and leave you alone. So don't get mad when they leave. Because they never deserved you anyway. But then again, hey, you reap what you sow, right? So don't take a vengeful point of view. God said it best. Vengeance is mine. And as long as you focus on Him, keep your focus on Him, the world around you may be crumbling, but you're going to be protected because you're God's child. But you got to make the commitment that He is your master. Come on, y'all. We are literally on the hallway of a new year. Make this year that you're about to step in be the one of transformation, the one of pure happiness. You make your own reality, but it starts here. So love yourself. Love yourself. Because you won't be able to quench the thirst that you desire within outside there. You won't. And trust, believe when I tell you this. The person that you're going to become is waiting patiently for you to make these sound choices for you. Reinvest in yourself. And all that is needed, God will supply. You're going to work for it. Yes, you are. But guess what? Isn't there things that we work for and make sounds sacrifices? Doesn't that show worth, value, importance? Because if it doesn't have those three things, why do you align yourself with it? You're just only fooling yourself. Okay? Okay, y'all. I'm going to wrap this up. This is going on 46, and I just got, my spirit got moved. But you're not alone. I'm telling you, if you're going through something right now, give it to your higher power. Be real with yourself. You got to be real with yourself. Don't worry about everything will work themselves up, but you got to first start with the Maker. He's waiting on you. He's waiting on you. And when you trust Him, all those things that are broken in your possession, He gonna fix it. He gonna make it new. And all the things that you don't need or is not in your best interest, guess what? He gonna remove it. Ain't that about being yoked? Isn't that the end goal, to be happy? To have the life intended? So stop settling. You're doing yourself a disservice. As I always say, God is praying for you. You know I am. Man, we getting ready to bring in 2014 is going to be that year of change. You see. You see. Thank you for your time, guys. You have a blessed weekend. And I don't know about y'all, but Mother Nature is doing her thing. So please bundle up and take your vitamins. All right? Okay, guys. You have a blessed weekend. Stay blessed.